Three young lads from Clonakilty decided to leave their mammies for a week and travel the wild Atlantic way, documenting their journey.
Too far from Mammy, is that that's your Twitter handle? What's the thinking behind that?
Well, I mean, myself and Paul, we were chatting on, I suppose it was it last Friday?
No, just last week.
Yeah, and we were there kind of going, oh, you know, I wouldn't mind live tweeting the trip, just because we kind of felt that, for a lot of locals anyway, because the Wild Atlantic Way is so new, that a lot of locals wouldn't really know much about the Wild Atlantic Way, so we kind of went, okay, let's think up a funny little handle, and it went through a few times before we kind of found Too Far From Mammy, and and then Evelyn picked it up, and it kind of went from there, really.
It's a mummy's boys, so how are you faring on your own then?
Well, we actually...
You look like you haven't changed it. I think you need a mummy care package.
This is Clonakilty, a beautiful seaside town deep within West Cork, soaked in music and culture. It was also the starting point of a nearly 2,500 kilometre road trip taken by Darragh, Paul and I in August 2016 along Ireland's Wild Atlantic Way. Our journey would take us through all of Ireland's worst weather, rural traffic and rugged countryside, all to raise awareness for Pieta House. The first day of our trip began at 8 AM on the 29th of August and would take us nearly 12 hours to complete. Starting in Clonakilty, we aimed to reach our first campsite that night in Dingle. It was in the first 2 hours that we realised how much we had underestimated Ireland's unforgivable weather and narrow coastal roads. Fog followed us around West Cork's massive peninsulas, and as we slowly made our way into Kerry by midday, the conditions hadn't subsided. Spirits weren't dampened though, as at each landmark we stopped to photograph and tweet ourselves holding the Pieta House sign. The first day was tough, neither myself or Darragh had actually driven that far in such a short space of time. But after 500 kilometres we reached Dingle at 8 PM. We set up our tent, cooked dinner on our camping hob and relaxed with a pint in Kennedy's pub soon after. We woke to a better day in Dingle on day 2. We encountered dangerous fog once again as we went through the Connor Pass, but this day's drive to Galway was absolutely incredible. We stopped in Tralee to visit the Pieta House there and to learn firsthand the incredible facilities they provide. Stopping here reminded us once again of how important the cause of our trip was. The second day was run on a pretty tight schedule. We had to reach Galway by 6 PM to meet with Paul, who, up until this point, hadn't actually been on this trip with us. We reached Galway at 6 PM and there made the spontaneous decision to get ourselves tattoos of the Wild Atlantic Way logo. Unfortunately for Darragh, he got a phone call from a very concerned mother of his about what he had actually done to himself. Afterwards, we headed to the Roisin Dub to see our friend Brian McCormick at the Upstairs Comedy Club and to enjoy the unique nightlife that Galway has to offer. We woke the next morning physically sore. While Paul was allowed to stay on his comfy bed, Darragh and I had to endure the comfort of cushions on his floor. It was safe to say that we were not in the best of moods that morning, particularly myself. I'm not really a morning person. We had a long road that day to Achill Island in County Mayo, and while Paul was his usual bubbly, well-rested self, Darragh and I took a little bit longer to wake up.
Are we going through town? Is that definite? Well, yes.
You're
sticking to the ghost, yeah.
What's my favourite?
Just search. Don't put, you have it on manual. It's on manual, man.
No.
Just stop.
Why are you using the volume? It's on manual, so I can't search like.
No, that is search.
No, you somehow said manual.
Okay. And he just stops wherever I...
Oh, usually... So,
That was my problem yesterday, though.
why do we get such a manual?
How did you do it? Undo. Turn it off and on again. Today's episode, 3 men figure out a radio.
Oh! I fixed it!
That's RT2 though.
My mother has not rang yet at all about the tattoos.
Nor is mine.
Nothing.
My mum felt bad and I had to call her last night. What she'd done.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What did she say?
She saw the picture that Paul put up and she was
Of him getting an earful.
and I was just like, she was like, oh, you look terrified. And I was like, literally, that was just because I was so tired.
It's just a tired look more than anything else.
I was a
hungry.
broken man. And I was so tired. I needed food. And like, didn't have the phone to her after my pint. I was like happy out. And I was like, oh, I'm fine now.
Yeah, he's fine now. There was a bit of sympathy for him, so he was alright. Mammy kind of...
Because she was just like, it was just a shock of seeing it. Because like, she was texting me.
My baby's skin!
She was texting, I was texting back, and then she was checking Twitter, and she saw it, and she was like, because she didn't cop why I was getting my chest shaved. She was like, I don't know what you were doing.
We left Galway City that morning and before long made our way to the incredible Connemara, famous for its tall peaks and serene lakes. It was really at this part of the trip that we began to appreciate how beautiful the wide Atlantic Way is. The three of us had never really been this far north, and it took us some time to register just how such an incredible route sat right on our doorstep.
And we went left, right, home.
Darragh, what would happen if we went right?
Back the same way.
Yeah.
That's grand. Let's go there.
You passed my test. Well done.
That evening, we made camp once again, this time in Achill Island, and stopped in the Achill Island Hotel for an amazing hot meal. It was on returning to the campsite, however, that the weather had started to take its turn.
Met Éireann has issued 2 severe weather alerts and has warned of the potential damage that could result from high winds and coastal flooding. Gusts of up to 150 kilometres per hour have been forecast, along with extremely heavy rain. This could lead to power supply problems, disruption of transport, and we could well see structural damage from these incredibly powerful winds.
I'm not moving. That morning in Achill was the turning point for this trip. I had left the tent in the middle of the night to sleep in the safety of the car. And sure enough, at about 6 in the morning, I woke up to Darragh knocking on the window. My side of the tent had completely collapsed, with the force of the wind snapping the carbon fibre tent poles. We left Achill as fast as possible, with the outlook of the trip facing crisis point as we had planned to camp for the following 2 nights. The mood was pretty down for the day as the rain and the wind battered the car as we went. We didn't let it get to us though, as we never really lost sight of the purpose of this trip. Knowing that our trip was supporting such an incredible charity such as Pieta House kept our spirits high. Thinking back to our visit in the Tralee Centre, we had seen firsthand how some of Pieta House's services continues to save lives on a daily basis. That alone kept us motivated as we visited some of Mayo's iconic landmarks such as Downpatrick Head and the Cager Fields.
How many fingers left? About 2 inches or 4 miles.
2 inches.
This isn't happening anytime
Green.
Green.
Lads, I'm going out of gear. That's how bored I'm getting.
Green.
Yo!
Thanks, lads.
Oh no, cheers,
Green.
fast. Cheers, you're great. Green.
Oh, green.
999 bottles here on the wall. 999 bottles. Take my dad, you pass it down.
That was not the time.
Shut up!
The clouds on the mood lifted at around midday as we received news of an article written about us by Una Harty for Lovin.ie. We saw in a matter of minutes the follower count on our Twitter page nearly doubled. As Una wrote about our escapades, we realised how even the most insignificant tweets to us were bringing entertainment and happiness to our audience. As we drove into Sligo town that evening, we attempted to pitch our tent with the help of duct tape. Naturally, this wasn't going to work, and within the space of about half an hour, we had repacked the tent and made the last minute booking in the Beehive Hostel in Sligo town. As we relaxed for the evening, we promised ourselves that the next day was going to be better. We couldn't wait to make our way into County Donegal the next morning to meet some of the people who had been following us on our journey. The next morning in Donegal was a complete change to the previous days. The sun was shining and we passed through the beautiful Donegal town. We stopped to meet some of the locals in the tourist office there and made our way further into the incredible county. In the early afternoon, we came across a lone barista on the roadside in the magnificent Glengesh Pass. We spent an hour here talking to him and another Wild Atlantic Way journeyman about the purpose of our own Wild Atlantic adventure. Even in the middle of the Donegal Hills, we found someone to spread the message of mental health awareness and to trade stories of good times and bad.
We have to take a bit of control about mental health issues. It's nice to see three young fellas, because that's where a lot of people are affected by it.
Yeah, I think in our generation it's been, more clear that people are being affected more. We're not really afraid to talk about it anymore, and it needs to be there needs to be more awareness about mental health issues in Ireland. It's a massive problem.
Even touching on what you were saying, that a lot of people wouldn't have the friends to turn to and whatnot, but that's exactly why Pieta House are there as well. They will listen to you, they will talk to you about it. They offer 15 free sessions with them, which if you just think about that nearly costs €1,000. And they're putting you through that for free. They'll offer family support again for free. It's a fantastic service, and it's definitely what we think is a worthy cause to try and raise awareness for.
100%.
Even we were in a Pieta House down in Tralee on Tuesday morning, and they showed us around the house, and it literally is like going to someone's house. You feel completely at ease going in to give you a cup of tea, a cup of coffee as you're going in, and it's completely confidential as well. I have to kind of stress that as well.
The last leg of our journey that day brought us to the foot of Mount Errigal in the Glenveagh National Park. We stayed at the beautiful Errigal Hostel, managed by the wonderful Sinead, who had been following our trip on Twitter. It was incredible to see actually how our Twitter tales had connected with people in the farthest reaches of the country. We spent that night tucking into a hot dinner and a film in the hostel's comfortable common room. woke the next morning in Errigal feeling a mixture of sadness and excitement for the day ahead. Errigal itself and the amazing Glenview National Park that it resides in is a beautiful part of the country, and we almost didn't really want to leave the hostel. But we had a job to do and we were going to reach the endpoint by the end of that day. As a personal goal, we stopped at Malin Head, which is Ireland's northernmost point, to take a picture of the Wild Atlantic Wave, a popular social media campaign at the time.
Malin Head!
It's a great spot.
Jack
This
is
better.
Where's he gone? Jack's setting up his camera. Good job, Jack. So, what now?
Now, we wait.
We got that shot and before long reached the end of the Wild Atlantic Way in Muff in County Donegal. And just like that, our trip was over.
Myself and Jack are graduating from UL on Wednesday, so we've real life in front of us. Don't know what to do.
I'm moving off to Canada in about 4 weeks.
Where in Canada?
Yeah, Montreal. Yeah.
How's your French?
It's basic. It's very basic.
It's the fact that you're teaching your girlfriend French and then we're there going, oh, you're terrible at French.
The worst person at French.
Well, to her, I'm amazing, okay?
You sound exhausted.
Yeah.
You
I
pass
remember
through
things
and
of
it's
food.
this beautiful view of this valley.
Yeah.
And there's a little car parky kind of viewpoint thing. And there's this guy in this tiny little shacky thing, like on wheels.
It's a trailer.
Is it? Yeah,
It's
little
square
trailer.
trailer.
Little trailer, and he's selling fresh coffee and
Popcorn.
seaweed popcorn.
It's seaweed popcorn.
It's
Very solid,
like
yeah.
So nice, and I think it's called Pirates of the Coffee Bean.
Yeah.
But he works around Donegal, so like he's either there or he's on some of the beaches and stuff.
Yeah.
Seaweed popcorn. Deep cup. Can't wait for popcorn. Seaweed popcorn.
And who's that by?
Pirates of the Coffee Bean. Come back and try to see me popcorn again.
We were just like on Facebook thinking, where is this today?
Well, it's a great name as well. Been telling people about it, and they always kind of say the name is the best name they've ever heard.
to what 3 guys from Cork were going to do, travelling from one end of the wide Atlantic way to the other. And I wanted to hijack your trip and make sure that you were mummied and that you actually did it for a good cause. So really, that's where it all started. It was from 2 different angles I was looking at it. I was looking at it from Evelyn McMarketing's point of view and what you were doing as if you were my clients, and how you were raising awareness for Pieta House. So from the other point of view, as a mammy, the mammy will connect with whether it's in ensuring the safety of others, or thinking she knows better than her offspring. So I thought it was great. I thought that was really fantastic that they were concerned about the 3 of you, and did you need clean clothes, and did you need food. I just thought that was really nice, and I think that was something that the mammy figure, or Donegal mammy in particular, did a really good job of.
And it's just blown up. Like since the whole kind of Wildland we held
since the whole Too Far From Mammy.
Exactly, Too Far From Mammy lads 10 and Twitter blew up. And people keep coming. These 3 lads are great. We have to see here. No, the coolest place from National Geographic helped so much too. So it's got great. So hashtag coolest place. So that's fantastic. So we met French people, staycations, everything. So we've been really, really busy.
Throughout the whole counties that we were going through, it was just a case of we'll be hearing all these things from Donegal going, oh, we can't wait to have you guys, and as soon as we got in, it was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's so nice just being in the car with somebody that you don't hang out with every day now because you've grown up and different things like that. And that's what I thought. I was like, good on you. So it's good fun. It was being tagged to and following you.
Yeah.
You felt like you're with you. Experience
for us it was a lot to keep up with, because
one
of us was driving, the other one was map reading, the other one was tweeting. I was kind of filming as well, and
I would say you found it tough from a wee trip away to oh my god, it's marketing more or less.
But even the whole kind of marketing and doing for Pieta House, I think made the trip so much better.
Yeah, that's what I said.
We had something, it was great. Because if we didn't have that, we'd be sitting in silence.
You wouldn't have the same support and crack and different people that you've met either. So that's the best.
Made the experience just 1,000 times better.
And the fact that we get to then come up now and just Do you have many people coming through here that are doing the Wild Atlantic Way? Or
90% of them, definitely. They'll either be the start or will be the finish.
Yeah.
So they'll do halfway, they'll do Galway to Donegal or Donegal to Galway. Yeah. And then the next time they come back, or they'll plan then from Galway to Cork. Yeah. And that's the way that they go, it's a lot. It's helped so much, it's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. And then being social media is fantastic too.
Definitely.
It's the only way to do, and being social on it.
It's
great too,
make the connections and networking.
Yeah, exactly, And what's going to be your project afterwards? What are you
going to do? I think. At the end of our visit to Donegal this year, we revisited our favourite spot on the Wild Atlantic Way at Glengesh Pass to reflect on our trip last year. The Too Far From Mammy trip along Ireland's Wild Atlantic Way is a trip that I'll never forget. What started as a holiday for 3 best friends ended up becoming a much bigger adventure. We met the most incredible people along our way in some of the most remote areas. In the centre of it all though, we brought a message to anyone who would take it that no matter where you are in the most wildest of ways along the Atlantic, no matter who you may or may not have by your side, that there is always someone who will stand with you and listen. Whether it be a friendly receptionist in Mizen Head, a hotel owner in Achill, or even a lone barista perched in the Donegal valleys. For me though, I got to spend time with my two best friends before life takes us on our own separate adventures. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching the documentary. We're just going to take this time just to thank some of the people that were involved in the production. A special thanks goes to Evelyn from Evelyn McMarketing, Sinead from Errigal Hostel, Flash Media and 65 Media in the production, Alton Casey for the lend of the drone, all the radio stations that were involved in interviewing us throughout the entire trip, our Mammies, obviously, and most importantly, Pieta House, who this entire documentary and trip is in support of. We had a fantastic time shooting the documentary along the Wild Atlantic Way. The Wild Atlantic Way is absolutely beautiful, and we would encourage anyone to go and make that trip because it is absolutely incredible. What made it so meaningful was the involvement of Pieta House, which is a charity that is really close to our hearts.
Pieta House is a great charity that provides a great service that is well needed in this country. They provide 15 free sessions, which usually costs about €1,000, so as you can imagine, it is an amazing service. When you go into the Pieta House, it's like going into someone's home. It's really comfortable, it's welcoming. They give you a cup of coffee or a cup of tea when you come in, and of course it's entirely confidential. They also offer free support to families of people with mental health issues, which is extremely important. Mental health doesn't just affect the individual, it also affects their friends and family. You can also get referred by a medical professional, or you can refer one of your friends if they're feeling too afraid to go to Pieta House themselves, obviously with their permission. There are 14 Pieta Houses around the country, so they offer nationwide service. If you text Pieta to 50300, you can donate €2 to the cause.
You can also help us support Pieta House by going to our GoFundMe page. You can find us at www.gofundme.com/Too Far From Mammy. At this point, we've reached €240 out of our €500 goal, and we'd like to ask for your help to reach that goal. You can donate as little or as much as you'd like, and every little bit of it will go towards Pieta House. Once again, from the three of us, we'd like to thank you for watching this and coming with us on our adventure through the wild Atlantic Way.